guys, it's Jen. You know me as the director of Grantcraft, and I'm here at the end of a terrific conference in Barcelona. It's the Edge Funders Conference, and it was all about reorganizing power. And one of the awesome themes that was explored really throughout the conference was how we can shift power by empowering the very communities that foundations want to serve by giving them decision-making power and having funders truly step back. And so one of the things that we've learned about, and that actually launched today in soft form because we just learned about it, is a new collaborative fund that is entirely participatory. So I'm here with Tin from OSIFE, who's going to tell us a bit about it.
Okay. So for a while we have seen through our work with progressive activists in Europe and with social movements that there is a need to change the way we think about collaboration and to go beyond, of course, the standard donor-grantee relationship. And one way that was proposed by many activists at many meetings was to reverse, in a way, the decision-making process, to create some sort of participatory fund. The initial idea was actually around exchanges of experience and skills and so on, and then it grew. So we developed a process together with 3 other foundations, with the European Cultural Foundation, with Charles Leopold Meyer Foundation, FPH, and with the Guerrilla Foundation. We worked together on actually creating this participatory, pan-European participatory fund for progressive activism, together with activists. So even in the phase of kind of conceptualizing the fund, we tried to consult with activists from all over Europe. We had a meeting in Seville, we had several discussions online, a follow-up working meeting, and now we have a sort of prototype. And as the fund is announced today, we are planning to, as foundations, withdraw from the process and limit our involvement to 1 person in the facilitation group out of 8, the other 7 being activists that were kind of self-selected through the process that we've had so far, and that would take the process forward. There has been 3 sort of grant-making approaches that have been identified. One is a scheme for exchanges of experience and skills. Second line would support projects that are thinking about systems change or addressing system change in various ways. And the third, and perhaps the most complex, is a rapid response fund that would deal with local emergencies that are happening in many places throughout the European space these days.
That's all really interesting, and I want to ask you about that last one, the rapid response grant-making portfolio of this group, because one of the tensions that surfaced a lot during this conference was the need for urgency and how we have to fund today's needs tomorrow rather than 6 months from now or 9 months from now, but the tension with being inclusive and how inclusive processes can take a little bit longer and take a little bit more investment. How are you and the funders and activists that you've worked with reconciled some of that tension?
I think we have to learn from the experiences of others, actually, from other participatory funds that have this function, or we have a few in the room, because we don't have the answer to this question, especially since we have chosen as our geography Europe, which is, a sort of very broad geographic scope, and we of course, decisions on every level in all 3 schemes will be reached through a peer review panel. We have in our charter the idea of diversity, the principle of diversity, the principle of inclusion. We've tried to do it in the process. We'll try to do it even more at the next assembly. We'll try to go beyond the sort of really to reach the affected communities, but it will take us some time to especially in terms of this mechanism. It's about languages. It's about reaching out to different communities, and then especially when we speak about rapid response, it has to be rapid, right? So that is the most challenging sort of line of funding that is needed, that has been identified as a need of the movements and the communities, and yet is challenging in terms of the mechanism and how things will
Well, I appreciate the intentionality and the transparency with which you're thinking about this, and also the way that you all are just taking on a little bit of risk. And that was another theme of this conference that I kept hearing, that we can't always know. Philanthropy on some level is an experiment. You can't always know the end result, but we can't continue to innovate and create new ideas and solutions unless we try.
Exactly. I do think that we should be taking risk. I do think the risks have to be thought through. Right, so like one qualifier in this is the decision that has been made in this facilitating group to, although there is a need for this rapid response fund, let's first start with the two other lines of funding. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there'll be emergencies happening in the meantime that won't be addressed. That's an issue. But on the other side, if this is a new process, and if it will be challenging to really launch even these other two lines. Let's not start with the most complex ones. So even there's risks involved with the first two, in terms of how the movements will react, how this will really be perceived, and how decisions will be at the end made. So that's enough of a risk, I think. And then the experience that we will get from those two lines informs the risk the even bigger risk we will be taking when the rapid response fund is launched.
Very thoughtful. Thank you for talking with me. For all of you watching, thanks for watching. This is the first in a new series of vlogs. That's a video plus a vlog that we're going to do on Grantcraft when members of Foundation Center are traveling around the world. And we're going to talk to funders just like Tin to get more insights and bring them to you. So thanks, Tin, for being a part of my pilot, and thanks to you all for watching.
You like this.